Shut up and sit down.
Hey folks, Brett here for Wheezin' Geezer TV. Wheezin' Geezer TV is brought to you by nobody. That's right, we don't have any sponsors. Sure could use some subscribers. Maybe that's where you come in. So what I'm doing today, first I'll explain. I'm an old man. I'm retired because I have a bad back. I'm sitting a lot. I play a lot of video games because TV sucks. One of the things I like to do is I like to play Microsoft Flight Simulator. I also love gold prospecting, the show Gold Rush, and everybody that's ever been on it, anything that has to do with gold prospecting, whether it's on TV, YouTube, or just somebody out in the field with a pan. There's a lot of misinformation out there on the Misinformation Highway Parade, with a bunch of people, getting in little fights over where things are, and all of their explanations are wrong. And I hate to be the one that's right. Somebody's got to do it. So anyway, I also wondered, where a lot of these places were. So I've done a lot of research. I mean, a lot of research. And a lot more than that. Just to kind of show you, hopefully today, where a lot of this stuff is. So this is my flight plan. As it says here, we are approximately 121 nautical miles, but by the time we're done, it's going to be probably closer to 140 nautical miles. Taking off out of Dawson here, just so you know, this is the Klondike River. We'll be taking off out of Dawson along the Klondike River. This is nothing but tailings. Here, there's a little creek that runs down there. That's called Bear Creek. It has no significance, really. Come down here. This is Bonanza Creek and Eldorado Creek, where they run together into the Klondike. Over on the corner here, I'm just giving you a quick rundown. Dawson, the city of Dawson, Dawson City. I'm sure it's listed as Dawson. Yep. Dawson City. This is the Yukon River. It comes all the way down here along the Yukon. Coming down here, this is where it breaks off into the Indian River. Nothing really happens until you get to about here. Then you start to see more worked areas and whatnot. As we come down here, this is going to take us to Quartz Creek. This is Quartz Creek here. This is still Indian River all along here. This is McKinnon Creek. We won't really be going down it, but that is McKinnon Creek that cuts off a bit. As we get down here closer to the bottom, that's McKinnon Creek. As we come down here, this is going to be Eureka Creek. As we come around here on the bottom, now this is all still going to be Indian River, and it's still Indian River all the way past here. But it has a lot of creeks and tributaries that lead into it. This is the Scribner Creek area. Okay, now Scribner Creek itself doesn't show a lot of work like some of these areas do, like this, because this is actually Scribner Creek that comes down this little mountainside here. This is at the base of Scribner Creek. I believe there are shadows of trailers that I believe are right in here that I believe might have been Parker's. They are just two-dimensional things that are painted on the ground because the game didn't create the buildings. And you see this funky area that goes down here like this, and it actually goes back here and it splits off in a couple of directions. This is an area that Parker just finished up in. This is Australia Creek. Okay, so we're going to come back up here, and you'll see that there's like these three fingers that peter off of this thing. Okay, so this is still Indian River that goes through here as it came down here and turned up this direction. This is Sulphur Creek. very heavily worked. As you come down here, this is Gold Run Creek. Pretty heavily worked also. Wow, I can actually see where it's going to get really crappy at. Anyway, yeah, the video in this area is going to be really bad anyway, because it's all going to be satellite image rather than like a Google map or a Bing map image, which is where they take it from, you know, a certain height between 800 and 1500 feet or so. And the ones that are out here are going to be satellite images from space, which will have no definition whatsoever. Anyway, the Gold Run Creek, as you come in through here, this becomes, now Dominion Creek actually starts here and goes on around and goes all the way up. This is Dominion Creek. But it actually starts here and it kind of goes across itself a couple of times and back into itself. There's also an area, I'm not sure if it's this one right here, but right in this area somewhere is Kentucky Creek, which also has no real significance. It's just something we're going to cross over. As you come out of Dominion, on Dominion Creek here, somewhere up in this area as you're going up here, this will be Jensen Creek. I'm not sure exactly where it's at. It doesn't matter. We're not going to be going up it. I'm just telling you because if you looked on the map, you could use it for reference. Now, if we were to come straight out of here and go over in this direction, somewhere over here is actually the community of Dominion, if that's what it is. It's listed as Dominion. Now, we won't be visiting Rick Ness because Rick Ness is like somewhere over here somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where. I will be doing a lot of research in that area to find it, just because I do want to travel over in that area. I love Rick Ness and his group. Like I said, I love everybody that's ever been on the show. You know, like Fred Lewis, I'm not sure where they were at. I think they were over in this area somewhere. But it doesn't matter to me if the person's on the show or not on the show. The show isn't what I love. I love gold prospecting. And I love everything that Fred Lewis is doing as far as, you know, putting together a band of brothers, basically. I'm ex-United States Army Infantry myself, even though I am wearing a cavalry hat. This is not an official military cavalry hat. This is an 1860s model pinch front cavalry hat made by Charlie One Horse. Because I love. Okay, so like I said, we're going to be flying this thing called an ornithopter. It was actually running when I got here. We're on at Dawson right now. But it looks really cool. It looks like this bug, like a dragonfly. And so I was going to show you the procedure where you unfold the wings and start the engine and whatnot, because it's really kind of cool. It starts out in these little oscillating rotations. It gets faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster, and a few more fasters. Anyway, we are going to take off from here. See how this works out. As I said, this is the Klondike River here on our right. Klondike Highway.
Please Hotel Bravo, Echo Bravo, continue for west departure. Please Hotel Bravo, Echo Bravo, leaving my airspace frequency change approved.
Better answer them.
Tower Wees Hotel, Bravo, Echo Bravo, frequency change.
Okay, I'm also going to slow down here and show you a little bit about how the buildings work in this game and the landscape. I can get paused. go to the drone. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little explanation on how the land works here and what you're seeing. Now, the game works off of maps, satellite maps, Bing maps, and Google Maps. I've got some Google Maps in here. It doesn't naturally come with Google Maps. The Google Maps gives me better objects painted on the ground than the Bing map does, and makes the roads look more realistic, especially in the cities. But what I want to show you is what's going on here. As you come in, and you're going to see a lot of buildings. Excuse me. Excuse me again, I'm sorry. You see a lot of buildings that are built, and they may not be correct. They should be approximately the right size, but they may not be correct. You can see the foundation here of where the building was. You can see a foundation there. You can see that this building is off of that foundation that's drawn in by the game. Again, may not be the actual what the actual building looks like, but it's probably similar. This actually fits the foundation pretty good. It's off a little bit. But see, when you're driving down here and you feel, let's say you know this building, you're like, well, it doesn't look like that. It doesn't have 3 roofs. I find that in a lot of buildings that it creates that are long like that it breaks them down into like 3 or 5 or however many long, when in fact the roof goes the other direction. So I'm not saying this isn't what it looks like, but more than likely it's probably a regular roof goes this direction, or just one roof that goes this direction. But at the shape of the building, I'm going to say the roof actually would probably go this direction. So that's what I'm explaining, is that it may not look exactly the way it's supposed to. Also, you're going to find some where the foundation and the building just don't match up, not even close. You know, where the foundation is here and the building is more right here, and you'll say, oh, come on, guys. But the buildings will be approximately the correct size. Now, as far as what you're seeing on the ground, those are painted from like Google Maps. Those are actually cars and vehicles and stuff that were there. Sometimes you'll see something that looks like a painted car on the road. It's because that was an actual car on the road. So this is the actual ground is taken from like a Bing map or a Google map. And they are taken from, I think I just saw the resolution really change there. So I'm thinking around in here. But I know for a fact that it's between 800 and about 1,500 feet, maybe a little over. And that's where they take these things from. The satellite maps, of course, come from space, and they have no real definition on the ground here. As blurred as you can possibly imagine. But that's how it works. And if there was like say road wear, if there is sidewalks, if there are driveways, it will actually be there. Anyway, that was a quick explanation as to what you're seeing on the ground. Beautiful tailings piles as we're going on our way in towards Dawson. We're not going directly to Dawson just yet, because we're going to go to a couple of those places that I showed you on the map. That's kind of how this is done. So this is before we get into Dawson. We are actually making that turn up. This is beautiful back here. This is Bonanza Creek. Like I said, it has an offshoot up here where they connect together. Eldorado Creek runs into Bonanza Creek. There are buildings and stuff back here, a lot of workings and whatnot, but it's not really something that is like majorly talked about on the show as far as a place. So we're not going to run all the way up Bonanza Creek just to show it to you. More about showing you where it's at and the kind of terrain in the area. Now, I'm playing on a crappy computer, an old man, living on my Social Security. And, you know, I got a crappy computer. It's a Ryzen 7 1800X with a 1080 Ti video card, which I just got. So it's not high definition. Let me get ready to hit the brakes here, coming into Dawson. But I do what I can. I wanted to bring you this, you know, at least a pretty good video, I think, you know, being low resolution. You can see, like I was telling you, how the land is painted, the trees on there. You can see how they are on the side of the hill there. So if this game were to completely fill up those areas, it would be more correct. Again, the way the buildings look, like as far as 3 roofs and things like that, may not be correct. But where they sit is correct. Those are the actual roads. And the trees fill in kind of like that. And if I were to go slow enough and over top, I could look in people's backyards. It'll be in 2-dimension and really blurry, but you can see stuff. And just so you know, I could have shown this in, you know, real time, real weather, but it's February, and if I do that, and I have done that, this whole thing is just white, including the river. And that's no fun. I mean, it's white. There is nothing that is not white. So, yeah, we're not doing real-time weather. However, I could stop here real quick and pick up a sandwich. But those are real people's backyards and whatnot. Those are real cars painted on the road that were parked there or driving down the road at the time. This is the beautiful Yukon River. You might remember Tony was bringing parts of the dredge down on the Yukon River on the barge. How much fun that was. If you don't remember, be sure to go back and watch those episodes. As a matter of fact, just go back and watch those episodes anyway. But this is the Yukon River, and as I said, we are going to be cutting out of here. Now I'm going to take you to Tony's place, but of course, I'm not going to take you there. I'm going to go there. In other words, you're going to sit in the back seat with a blindfold on and shut up. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, let's slow her down a little bit. Didn't have the cursor in the right screen. Anyway, this is the Hunker Creek area. Let me Hunker Creek Road down there. These are their neighbors over here. We're coming up here. This is Dago Hill. 80 Pup area. This is Paradise Hill. I'm gonna try to slow myself down here a little bit by heading up. I'm gonna pause this thing. We're gonna go straight to the camera. Trying to be professional with the phones. All right. So we are free of the ship. We fall to our death. But as you know, Paradise Hill, you've seen it many times in the show. These houses sitting on the edge of the hill here. I'm not exactly sure where 80 Pup is. I thought it was over on this side of it, but I may be wrong. It may not be that draw there. It may be this draw right here. It goes up in there. It's 80 Pup. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We'll get to the houses and all that kind of stuff here in a minute. Come on, you've seen that view before. This area, now, I don't know, but I'll tell you. According to some map, there's supposed to have been a dredge up here, but I don't think there is anything like that here, because that looks like a building up there, so that don't make no sense. But I don't think there is. There could be. You know, the game actually covers so much with trees that's not trees. So you can see a road down there. It's where the light colored trees are. It's because they put trees on the road in this game. Idiots. Idiots. But anyway, it looks to me like, you know, we got a couple of... Come on, go away. Looks like a couple large pieces of machinery down here. And I believe that could be Tony Beets down there chewing somebody's butt. That's how you know this is legit. According to the map, there's supposed to be a dredge down here. I don't see one. Never seen one. It's not like I haven't checked before. Maybe that's 80 pup on the top there. I don't know how all this works. But anyway, we're going to start with the road here. This is the road going in, and it's all covered with trees. It's the light colored trees that are covering the road. So, yeah. That's where the game developers could have done a little better. Again, you can see the areas, like I say here, where the photograph of the actual tree line is and where it sits and all that kind of stuff. So all this should be filled in with trees, but it's not. And I can forgive them because they are just kind of throwing this thing together. But I'm not sure what all we got here. Let me pop my head down here. Now these things over here, these look like they're like shipping containers, like you would use for maybe your electrical and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Again, this is a two-dimensional image from way the hell up in the air. Okay. Now over here, we got like a couple large pieces of equipment. Don't know what we got here. That is either a dozer or that is Michael Beets. I'm kidding, Michael. Love you, brother. But I don't know. A couple large pieces of equipment there. Let's get back into it here. We got some vehicles and stuff down there. Now this was a telltale sign for me. That's boneyard. We'll get back to that in a second. Now this is the housing area, and like I told you, everything's really wonky here. You can see this building goes there, that building goes there, this building goes here, that goes there, that goes there, this goes here. The building shapes may not be correct. A lot of stuff is also painted in two dimensionals on the ground because the game didn't draw them in as buildings. I don't know whether they were buildings or what we got here. But that is how the houses are on the edge there. You can see that that's what's going on, is that they're off from where they should be a little bit. But this is definitely a boneyard. When I first looked for this place, found a place on Paradise Hill where Paradise Hill was supposed to be. This is one of the first things I seen when I flew over and looked down. So I'm going to try to bring this back up in the airways. I think we are past the distance it was probably taken at. I notice when I'm zooming in I don't really see it, but I'll see a change when I'm zooming out. But that is definitely a boneyard. Like a conveyor right there by the shadow. Might be a conveyor right there too at the bottom. So we're gonna go further over here a little bit, because now remember, a lot of these the ground that we're looking at was actually taken like within probably more than 2 years ago or so. And the reason they do that is in case there's anything that is what would be considered sensitive in these Google Maps or whatever, they will have had time to have changed and therefore not be as sensitive. Now when I get over here, I say to myself, I think I see rock trucks. And I'm saying that looks to me like it could be a trommel. Is it? I don't know. It's taken from way the hell up in the air. But to me, I thought trommel. Rock trucks. And over here we got another big piece of equipment. Don't know what it is exactly. Again, it's in 2 dimensions. But, man, I'm telling you, I see trommel. Could be wrong. My interpretation of it. But again, this is Hunker Creek, Paradise Hill. That beautiful boneyard. And I'm calling it Tony Beets' place. I don't know. I could be wrong. Let's get back to the chopper. And it's kind of a long journey down there to where the Indian River meets. But I'm going to keep it going. Excuse me. I thought about breaking it up, and just fast forwarding to that. But some people might want to travel the whole thing so that you have more of a reference as far as distance and feel. One thing I want you to know is we'll be traveling, like I say, we are traveling at 430 knots. We're just traveling about 20 knots to 30 knots less than your typical airliner, but they are usually at like 30,000 feet when they're doing that. There's no way they can compete on the ground this low. So keep that in mind. That's why we are covering so much ground as we're traveling at the speed of an airliner, roughly. So I will also, when I'm done and I get some time to get into the description, I'm going to try to, leave like timestamps to certain areas and things like that. So in the future, not right off the bat because I've got to put it in there first and I don't know when the timestamps are. But in the future, people will be able to just like, damn it, take me to the Indian River. Which is coming up. This is actually where the Indian River meets into the Yukon. It's a squirrely thing, I'm telling you. I don't know why they called it Indian River. It should have just been Snake. And of course, there's like 1 billion snake rivers in the world. But, sorry, this is a snake. But this is where the Indian River meets the Yukon. And we don't actually see any real worked areas until after all the hills that you see in front of us. So again, like I said, this is that dead spot where you're flying along the Indian River and there's nothing worked. I don't know if there's like, regulations that keep them from mining in certain areas, or they just aren't gold rich, but I couldn't imagine them not being gold rich. I mean, any one of these gullies coming down there, you would think is going to have just piles of gold in certain areas. But as we're coming around the corner here, you can start to see more of the worked areas. Along the Indian River. I don't think Tony's location on here needs to be nearly as disclosed as the other because you're out in the middle of nowhere, but I still won't show you exactly where it's at. We might go right past it and have to come back. I'm not going to tell you anything. We might not even get to it. It might not even be anywhere around here. As a matter of fact, don't even think about going there, because I believe he's got like these giant-sized guards with what I like to refer to as Nerf Gun Plus, and giant guard dogs that will eat your face. Please keep that in mind. Now, I would like fly around in this mode because the graphics are usually better, but it really gets choppy and it's hard to see for you. Now, in a different type plane, it's not so bad. But I'm trying to show you the area. Now, I call this area the land of 1,000 settling ponds, but they over-exaggerate the water like 5 times more than what it is. We're going to take this turn here. This is Quartz Creek. Now, Quartz Creek is very heavily worked over. Absolutely beautiful. And as we get down here towards the end down here, I'm going to try and perform a maneuver. I do not do maneuvers. I am not a pilot in any way, shape, or form. But when I first met Lieutenant Immelman in the gold community, I asked him if he was related to the guy, that's famous, Lieutenant Immelman. And I don't remember what he said. But anyway, I'm going to try to perform an Immelman. It worked out pretty good. Now, with an Immelman, what you're doing is you're pulling back on your stick. You're going to rotate around and push forward on your stick rather than pulling backwards. You're going to be pushing forward. And what it allows you to do is both turn around so that you're facing your enemy and have altitude. So we are going to head back down Quartz Creek. And I'm going to take you to Tony's. I'll be back. Just like I said, you got to put a blindfold on. I ain't just taking you there. Okay, so this is what I believe is Tony Beets' place on Indian River. Am I positive? No. How sure am I? I'm thinking around 80% positive, but I'm not positive. But this is the outlying area here. I'm not sure what that is. You see down along the edge of the water. Also, all water is exaggerated by quite a bit. So this could be a small... Actually, I don't even think that's water. To me, that all looks like it's being worked. But the game put water there. I don't think there is. Over here, this looks like an excavator to me. This looks like a dozer. This looks like a dozer. That looks like an excavator. Pretty smart, huh? I'm blowing you guys away with this stuff. And believe it or not, I can do this like common sense thing all day long. Now, like I was telling you how things are, this is like how it's painted on here. These would be trees. You see it put this little spud there. But that's where trees are supposed to be. That's what I mean when I'm saying how it draws things. So they would recognize this as the trees, not this little thing. Okay. The ground will, you have tire marks and everything and stuff because it's the actual ground. But no dredge. At least I don't think so. I mean, I keep seeing things on the ground, but I don't see anything to me that looks like a dredge. So when we get into here, again, this is what I believe quite strongly. This is the Indian River compound. First of all, it's the only place that has a lot of buildings. You can see this building's supposed to be sitting here of some sort. These are actually supposed to be sitting here. These are supposed to be here. So they're off a little bit. Like they would say, well, we don't have any houses in our road. Well, that's because that's supposed to be there. That's supposed to be there. This is supposed to be here. And that's what I mean by they can be off, you know, by quite a bit. That's like 40, 50 feet. But the idea is for it to represent the buildings in that area. And the rest of it's all going to be, you know, just two-dimensional painted on the ground. So vehicles, trailers, that kind of stuff that may not be there and permanent and whatnot. But let's take a look at this. Boneyard. Now some people might think, you know, oh, well, those could be bushes. You know, because you can't really tell by the definition, but boneyard. Because if you were to look anywhere around here, you're not going to see anything else that looks like that. Nothing. Anywhere. Anywhere, 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 anywhere. If you look right down here, you're going to see how it is trailed in piles so that you can drive down one pile to another pile and look for parts in the boneyard. Again, I do not know that this is Tony Beets' place on the river. I'm going to say at least 80% sure. I know it's right off the river here just like this, and the land looks like that. But that is that. We're going to take off from here and head further down the river. I'll be back. Okay, so let's head further down the Indian River here. Now this offshoot here, this is McKinnon Creek. I don't really travel down it. There's no real reason to. I mean, I know there's workings in there, but I don't know exactly where. You can see the change in the maps. I don't know which is like Bing Map, which one's a Google Map, and all that kind of stuff. I'm just thankful to have either one of them, and sometimes both. But yes, this is McKinnon Creek, just because we've heard it referenced in the show. And we'll head back down the Indian River. Now, let me see here, where are we at? Yeah, I guess we can stop in here. I'm going to talk about this area a little bit before we continue on. And pause just like magic. Okay, so I did a lot of research in order to find all these places, and a lot of stuff is like information that they have that's like from Google Maps and stuff that is there for you. I don't know if it's placed there on the map because it's legit, or if it's like a wiki where people can like place stuff there and it's wrong. I don't know, but what I'm going to tell you is that according to Google Maps, right in this area here is supposed to be a dredge. Now, I've blown this for years, actual years. You know, not like every day, but for years I've blown this area. It's one of my favorite places to fly. And I'm always looking like from this view or out my window or from underneath up close, and I'm always looking for things like dredge, equipment, camps. There's supposed to be a dredge here. Never ever seen one. It's supposed to be a dredge just on the other side of this over here. Never seen one. There are some cuts over there. And then right here, you can probably even kind of see them. There's some cuts right here. And on the map, on Google Map, that's listed as Parker Schnabel, Sulphur. Now also, these maps are at least a couple years old because they have to be a certain amount of time before they can actually publish something like this in a game or something like that, because there could be something that is considered sensitive, and they consider things that could have been there 2 years ago to not be sensitive now because it could have clearly been moved since then. And that's why it has to have a certain amount of time. So nothing here is like absolutely current. Now Google Maps does have current stuff, but they don't publish it in like games and things like that. But that's what's going on here. There's supposed to be a dredge here, there's not. There's supposed to be a dredge here, there's not. This is where Sulphur was. Now the thing is, it's a cut, which means it's been, you already ran it and then you reclamated it. Okay, so it doesn't, it's not like something that's like totally destroyed. But I wanted to kind of explain what this area is and what I've been looking for years and never found. But I've been like, I'll come down here and I'm like looking everywhere in these things for anything that looks like it might be a dredge. I never see anything. I do see these cuts here, and sure, this could be like Parker Schnabel along the Indian River. I don't know what cuts those are or whatnot. And then it's supposed to have like a dredge like right here somewhere. And I see all these cuts here that are clear cuts, but I've never found a dredge. But with this new drone thing, it allows me to see things more closely. Like there's an area up in here where I know I saw something, and so this is the portion of the video where I said there's a secret place. I'm going to show that to you now. And there it is. The Holy Grail. What do you think of that? Tony Beets. Is that cool or what? I was using the drone to look at some other areas up here, and I wandered down here, and this is what I saw. Does anybody else see a dredge? Anybody see a bucket line? The gantry? Anybody see a conveyor dumping rocks? To me, it was the Holy Grail. I've flown here for years. And I found this tonight. Well, as I said, Holy Grail. I was actually coming down here to look at some other vehicles and whatnot that I'd seen down here, and I've seen them for years. I just never really checked them out. I know I saw a conveyor and I saw various other pieces of equipment, buildings and whatnot. And like I say, they're down below me right here. And I just started traveling down this way a little bit. And facing the opposite direction, it didn't really come into view right away. And then I saw it, and then you couldn't unsee it, and then I turned around. And I wanted to bring that to you. It's all because I started using the drone. This is Eureka Creek. This is where the McCoggins are currently working. Again, this is not current, video of the ground. But this is Eureka Creek. workings, further up there. There's some buildings and stuff over here. You can kind of see the shadow of buildings, but they're two-dimensionally painted on the ground. Along with like a hill and stuff that they've terraformed themselves, whoever it is. Don't know who that is. Not saying it's McCoggins. No idea. I'm just saying this is the area that they are currently working. And I am very happy to have anyone and everyone on that show. Hey, they could even put me on the show. I'd love to work in their gold room. Anybody's gold room. But anyway, they'll wash the big rocks, and I'd love to wash the small rocks. I don't know how many amens I just heard, but I don't know how the gold community feels about that. Yeehaw! So again, like I say, this is still Indian River, and it will be Indian River till past everywhere we go. This is Scribner Creek. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the brakes again. Do some more of that fancy camera work stuff with the pausation on there. Like I say, I ain't well versed in this at all. Okay. Now the reason I come here is because, as you can see, there's something that looks like trailers down there. And this is Scribner Creek area. Okay. Now, for a long time, I was very puzzled as to why it's Scribner Creek, because I can find all these other creeks, and it is so hard to find a listing for Scribner Creek on a map. You can see some worked areas up there. A lot of this will be like the trees will be that they have in the game are over, covering stuff up so you can't see what it is. Also, some of the terraforming will be completely incorrect. You can tell some of this stuff over here is all man-made stuff. You don't know what it is exactly. I can't say that there's a wash plant there or anything. I don't know. Can anybody say there's a wash plant there? I kind of think that might be a wash plant. I've never actually said that before here, but that almost looks like a feeder, and it looks like it's feeding up into a wash plant, possibly. Now, don't ever quote me on something like that, because I cannot say definitively that that is. This is a low-resolution picture that we're looking at here. I have no idea what these are, but I can tell you that they are man-made objects. They look like trailers, of course, but I don't know. Bunch of other stuff. Not sure what that is down there. Kind of clueless, as per usual. But this is Scribner Creek area. These are trailers. Trailers are usually used in a camp for gold miners. And so that is my thought here. I am not positive. You cannot quote me on anything, especially anything that I ever say. Even if it is true, you can never quote me on it because I'm an idiot. Self-proclaimed idiot. It's not true. It's not true. I keep telling myself. But anyway, this is Scribner Creek. I'm not going to go in any further now. I'm not really going to fly up it, but Scribner Creek actually is this little gully that runs up this hill here. This is Scribner Creek that comes down here. And I'm sure they're just mining everything down here at the bottom of it. Because when I go up it, I don't really see any real workings and stuff like you do in these other creek areas. But this is Scribner Creek, and especially if you Google map it, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see this area right here. Almost exact. And it'll say Scribner Creek. But it's actually that little gully there that runs down there. That's where Scribner Creek is. Runs down in here into the Indian. Okay, I'm going to get away from this gamepad thing. Get back in the chopper. But just thought I'd draw your attention to that. Do I know for a fact that it is Parker Schnabels? No. I think it is. Pretty sure. Get off of the pause again, pausation. I guess we could kind of run up it, but you'll see that you don't really see any workings up the actual Scribner Creek like you do up the other creeks. You know, you would just think it would be caked with workings. Looks like maybe some workings up here, I don't know. But it's really small. Again, we're coming right back down Scribner Creek area. That was Eureka Creek and the Indian over here. This is that long doohickey hanging off the bottom there. This area, you can see a little bit off there to the right where there's a little bit of workings. This goes back here all the way to them hills there, and it kind of shifts off in a couple directions. I don't know exactly where Parker had been working back here, but he just finished down here this last season. This is the Australia Creek area. Again, I don't know exactly where they're working it or whatnot. I'm just showing you where the location is. Say this Indian River all the way as far as you can see, but it has several creeks and whatnot that run down into it. A lot of workings, like I say, there'll be buildings, there'll be vehicles, machinery, and things that you'll see on the land painted everywhere. This is Sulphur Creek. This is that first big finger, like I told you, there's 3 fingers down at the bottom of the map. This is the first one. I know I've seen a lot of like vehicles and buildings and things down in this area. That is Sulphur Creek. And it runs forever. I mean, you know. Get that afterburn, get me going forward. Keep forgetting to do that. See here, this is where we go to that satellite view, and the game tried to put in some stuff, but the actual definition on the ground is horrible. We can see where the trees are supposed to be, some blotchiness. I don't know, some of it's water, some of it ain't. So you can tell that, you know, when I see an area like this that I'm getting into, this from like Google Maps, I just love this. This is Gold Run Creek. Middle finger. Interesting. The middle finger of those 3 fingers that I showed you down at the bottom of the map. Never thought of it as a middle finger before. That just kind of slipped out. Now most of the time when I'm flying, everything will be in like Google Maps or Bing Maps. It won't be in this satellite view prehistoric map. It's because it's a very unpopulated, very densely populated area. Not densely. Yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway, not very populated. This area here is the Dominion Creek gold mining area. Dominion Creek actually starts right around in here. It would be on our left. I don't know if we can actually kind of see where it's supposed to be. But the Dominion Creek runs alongside the Indian here. And it runs along the whole bottom side here. then it's the outside finger of those 3 fingers. This takes us all the way home. Again, Dominion Creek runs in about 3 different pieces and connects back up with itself. And I really wish this was in like the Google map stuff, because that area is just so beautiful. This is Dominion Creek, like I say. There is a spot up here where if you went to the right, it takes you to Jensen Creek, which I don't know anything about really. From here on out, we're basically just flying home, and I'm just flying up. See, now this is still Dominion Creek here, but it's in the Google Maps. You can just see how much nicer this is. So we're just going to take this thing home, maybe crash land it at Dawson Airport. So I want to thank you for coming along on the journey. I hope you had fun. Hope you learned something maybe along the way, or found it at least interesting. But yeah, thank you for watching. We'll see you folks in the next one.